Hello everyone, in this opportunity we're going to start studying Unit 2 called Work and Studies. Okay, this is the first lesson and I'm going to be helping you to do the exercises, listening and try to explain a bit what the unit is about. Okay, let's have a look at the goals of this lesson is to talk about personal experience and to talk about your studies. Okay, we're going to learn some expressions that you can use to talk about your studies. Okay, the first activity or the first section is something for you to maybe analyze on your own. We have a question here. It says, at what age do people in your country usually do these things? Start school, go to college or university, do exams, the military service, start work, and retire. At what age do people in our country start doing these things? Do you think those are the best ages to do them, or do you have different opinions? This is just something for you to keep in mind. Now, let's see. It says, read the introduction to a radio program. Is it true of people where you live? Let's read. You can pause the video, read on your own, or you can read with me if you want. In today's program, we'll be talking a look at lifelong learning. In the past, people went to school and maybe university. Then they got a job and that was it. Today, however, all that is changing. Many people are continuing to study all their lives and some are going back to school or university when they are much older. This concept of continuing to study, it might be called lifelong learning. Okay? Now let's see. Here we have interesting pictures, right, of people. It says, listen to interviews with 3 students, Luis, Pierre, and Margaret. Match them with pictures A and C and see who is the one who started studying after they retired, who works and studies at the same time, and who went to college after working for 20 years. Let's listen.
Track 11.
1.
Luis, you're 29
Right.
and you're a student.
Well, I work as an archaeologist, but yeah, I'm also a student, I guess.
Right. What kind of archaeology do you do?
I do a lot of work in the rainforest in the central Amazon.
But right now you're doing a degree, aren't you?
Yes, I'm doing a doctorate in archaeology.
Oh.
Actually, I'm writing a thesis on my work in the Amazon.
And when do you finish?
I've got just 1 more year to go, I hope.
And will you stop then?
Stop studying?
Yes.
Well, I think an archaeologist is always studying, so no, I'll never stop. It's a way of life for me.
2.
Pierre, you didn't like school much. Why was that?
Well, I didn't like a lot of subjects at school, like maths and science. I just wasn't very good at them, and I hated doing exams and tests and so on.
But you were interested in art.
Yes, I've always enjoyed art.
So you left school when you were...
I left school when I was 18.
Ah.
I passed my exams, just, and then I got a job. Then, about 20 years later, I decided I wanted to do a degree in art. So I applied to some colleges and I got into the School of Art and Design in Limoges.
Oh, and how is it?
It's a great experience, completely different from school.
How exactly?
Well, I'm studying something I really want to study, you know?
Right.
And I'm a lot older and more confident, so it's easier to ask questions, talk to the teachers, things like that.
3.
Margaret, you're a student at the University of the Third Age?
Yes, we call it the U3A.
U3A. And what is that exactly?
Well, the third age means it's for people over 50. Anyone over 50 can join. We have meetings and talks in members' homes, and we don't do exams or get degrees. So you see, it's not a typical university.
And why did you join?
Well, I retired 3 years ago. I had a lot of free time and nothing to do. It wasn't a very happy time, to be honest. Then I read something about the U3A and went to a talk, and it was great.
What kind of courses have you done?
Oh, there are so many interesting things. I've done courses in music, local history, and Spanish. I choose things I haven't studied before.
And what's next?
Well, I've never been very good with computers. So, last week I signed up for an IT skills course.
Okay, so let's see. Match the names or the images of the people with images A, B, and C, right? First we have Luis, right? Which image represents Luis' life or experience? C, right? He is an archaeologist. Pierre is an artist. He's studying in the School of Arts, and Margaret is part of the U3A, right? University for People of the Third Age. Good. So who started studying after they retired? Margaret, right? Who works and studies at the same time? Luis. And Pierre went to college after working for 20 years. Now, let's do activity 4. Can you remember the answers to these questions? Have a look at the questions, pause the video, and try to answer them. You can go back and listen to the listening again if you have confusions. Now let's see your answers. First we have Luis. What does he do? Well, he's a student and an archaeologist at the same time, right? An archaeologist. What are his plans for the future? To continue studying, right? He says that is a way of life for him. He wants to keep studying forever. Pierre, number 3. Why didn't he like school? Well, he said that he wasn't very good at a lot of subjects, right? He hated exams and tests. Why does he enjoy his studies now? What's the difference? He's studying something he really, really likes, and he is more confident now. Now, Margaret, why did she enjoy the U3A? Well, she was retired for 3 years. She had a lot of time and nothing to do. How is the U3A different from other universities? They only accept people over 50, people who are over 50, right? They meet in people's homes and they don't do exams. Let's continue. Now, vocabulary about studying. Here we have a list of different subjects that you can study. These are just some examples. There are a lot more, right? Who mentions these subjects and what do they say about them? Have a look. play the listening again, and do the activity. So, who mentions Spanish? Margaret, right? She said she studied Spanish. What about IT skills? Information technology skills. Margaret as well. She says that she's going to study that in the future, right? That's her next course. Who talks about archaeology? Luis, right? He is an archaeologist. Who talks about history? Margaret, right? Math and science are subjects that Pierre took in high school. Music, Margaret, right? She studied that. And art is what Pierre is studying at the moment, right? Very good. Now, next page. Here we have more vocabulary that we use when we talk about studies. Here we have the concepts of exams, a degree, a thesis, an IT skills course, colleges, a doctorate, courses, degrees, and school. Now, pause the video and complete the sentences from the interviews with words or expressions from the box. Pause the video and do the activity. Now let's take your answers. 1. I'm doing a doctorate in archaeology. 2. I'm writing a thesis on my work in the Amazon. 3. I passed my exams, just. 4. I wanted to do a degree in art. 5. I applied to some colleges. 6. I got into the School of Art and Design in Limoges. 7. We don't do exams or get degrees. 8. I've done courses in music, local history, and Spanish. And the last one, last week I signed up for an IT skills course. Very good. Now, activity 7B. Which words in the box can go with this verb? We have here some examples. The verbs do, get, pass, or fail. And here you have a short list. You can do a degree. You can do a doctorate. What else can you, what other words can you use with the verb do, get, pass, and fail? Pause the video and write your list. So you can do a degree, you can do a doctorate, you can also do a course or do an exam. Now with verb get, when you finish, you can get a degree, right? Or you can get a doctorate. This is when you finish, right? And you can pass or fail an exam. Those are words that we can use with those verbs picked, right? Now let's see. The last part of this lesson is going to be about present perfect, specifically to talk about experience. Look at the sentences from the interview with Pierre and answer the questions. Here we have 2 examples. Number 1 says, I've always enjoyed art. And number 2, I didn't like a lot of subjects at school. Now, which sentence, 1 or 2, talks about only the past? And which sentence talks about his whole life up to now? Number 2 talks only about the past. I didn't like a lot of subjects at school in the past. But the first sentence here expresses that he has always enjoyed art. He enjoyed it in the past and he still enjoys art. His whole life up to now. Yes? This sentence is of course in present perfect and this one is in past simple. In next class, we're going to be studying in depth the difference between these 2. Okay? But now we're going to do some short exercises. Now, complete the sentences with have, has, the, haven't, or hasn't. These are the short forms of the verb have, right? Now let's see. Pause the video and complete the chart with the words that you have there. So the first one is a question, right? What kind of courses have you done? What kind of courses have you done? Positive. I've done courses in music, local history, and Spanish. I've done, the short form, courses in music, local history, and Spanish. Negative. I choose things I haven't studied before. I choose things I haven't studied before. Another way of negative would be I've never been good with computers. I've never been very good with computers. If you compare these 2 sentences, you will notice that here we use the auxiliary have in negative. I haven't studied before. But when we use the word never, we use it in positive. I have never. No, I haven't never. Right? I have never been very good with computers. Now, another example here. Has she ever studied Spanish? Yes, she has. No, she hasn't. You know the difference between have and has. We use the verb have with I, you, we, and they, and we use has with she, he, and it. For this case, for present perfect, we're going to be using verbs in past participle. Yeah, so you have to learn your verbs in past participle. Okay? Let's do activity number 3. Complete the questions with the past participle of the verb in brackets. Okay, you have some verbs and you have to complete with the past participle. Remember, we have 3 ways of using verbs: infinitive, past, and participle. Pause the video because I'm going to give you the answers, okay? Number 1, what subjects have you always enjoyed? Number 2, What subjects have you always been good at? Always been good at. I'm going to write it here. Number 2, been. Number 3, what's the most useful subject you've ever studied? Studied. This is a regular verb. 4, who's the best teacher you've ever had? Who's the best teacher you've ever had? 5, have you ever done a course in your free time? 6, have you ever written a thesis or a very long essay? Have you done a lot of exams in your life? And the last one, what's the most difficult exam you've ever passed? This is also a regular verb. Now, on the Aula Virtual, you will have more information, videos and examples and more exercises that you can do to practice present perfect. We're going to be talking about this in the next class. Okay? If you have any questions, you can write back to my email. See you in the next class. Bye-bye.